let's try that again. All right, so yesterday we looked at what were the problems with, yesterday we looked at this. We looked at why a country wants to have industry. What are the benefits from it? What are the pros? All right, we saw that industry brought a lot of good things because when you have factories and you're making the, and you're doing everything within these factories, you're able to process a lot of materials, and then you are able to produce a lot of the products. And those products can be used for either people to buy or to use. So this is a pretty good thing. Joe and Glory, remember, I don't have you guys on Wednesdays. The schedule is different. I have class 8A6. You guys could work on the WebQuest stuff from yesterday.
Okay.
All right. So everyone else, what are the problems with industry working in a factory? Let's look at the issues now, because yesterday we looked at the good things. Today we're going to look at the not so good things. All right. So number one, what is a major problem with working in a factory? Well, factories are very helpful in terms of producing products because they have machines, and machines are used to produce these products a lot faster. The problem is the machines can be very dangerous. All right. Since the machines can be very dangerous, people could get hurt. People could get even killed working with the machines improperly. Okay, if you have a machine and you're not used to working with it, or if you make a mistake, it can become a huge problem. All right, so there will be many people that worked in factories that either got injured on the job or even in some cases got killed working in the factory because of the not proper safety precautions. Now, some of these problems, yes, okay, so Enyan, excellent. If you read the book Liddy, this is a good comparison from some of the stuff you did from 7th grade. That is correct, okay? A lot of the things you saw in Liddy can be, or a lot of the things you would study throughout this time unit, so you guys should be a little bit familiar with it already, okay? So some of these problems can still be problems in 2020, but we're looking at more of the problems from like 1870. So though there are machines and factories can have machines still in 2020, of course, they're a lot safer. Okay, we have more regulations and controls put in place to make sure people that are working with machines either are wearing protective equipment or making sure the machines are a lot better off. But back in history, it definitely wasn't as good. Okay, so number two, workers worked very long hours for very little pay. Okay, this was a little bit of a problem. Back in this time frame, 1870 to 1910, there was no such thing as a minimum wage. Since there was no such thing as a minimum wage, a lot of workers worked for a very small amount of money, and this became a little bit of a problem. Now, this isn't as much of a problem. You know, bosses who run the company, who run the factories, they made more money than the workers. I mean, that makes, you know, pretty good sense. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, that these particular workers that are working were getting paid practically nothing. All right. So this became a little bit of an issue because so many workers were basically that worked in these factories were poor. All right, so this became a little bit of a huge problem at this point in time. Okay. The next thing is, and this is more of a 2020 problem, the pollution part of it, factories usually emit smoke or emit a lot of waste or garbage, and that could lead to a lot of pollution, which we know is a little bit more of a problem in 2020. But back in history, it wasn't so much of a focus, but of course there was a lot of pollution getting into the air. This also often led to overcrowding in the cities as well, which became a little bit of a problem. And then of course we have, because of people working, there's a lot of people working in factories around the city, this became a little bit of an issue. All right, the last thing that we're going to look at is going to be child labor. All right. And I have a ... there, basically to point out that we're going to talk more about child labor, but since you've already read the book Liddy, you would probably know a little bit about it already. Child labor is when children used to work in these factories, used to work these dangerous jobs, and these dangerous jobs, okay, that were being worked on by children often led to many children being mistreated or some of them even being killed. So we'll focus more on the child labor a little bit later on this week, but I just want to mention this is obviously something that's going to be a problem with industry going forward. All right, and again, if you read the book Liddy last year, you could already start to gather some of the problems. I mean, children should not be working, some of these jobs that are more dangerous. Okay, now, when you turn 14 or 15, if you want to get a job, you can sign your working papers and go work a job that's safe, maybe babysitting, working as a camp counselor, maybe go work in a store, but they're not going to send a 15-year-old into a factory. Where back in history, they used to send these people into factories, all right, which was a little bit of a major problem. All right. So at this point in time, we should be pretty much copied down with the notes. You're going to continue to work on what you worked on yesterday. So yesterday, if you don't remember, you were working on a web quest. Okay. That web quest consisted of 2 parts. The first part I'm hoping is already done. The first part consisted of you getting definitions from Google and then eventually putting them into your own words. Okay, so hopefully this part is done. If it's not, you guys got to get to that first. All right. If that's all done, though, then you want to go to the website that you see here from historycrunch.com, go through the reading, and then answer the questions as the reading goes along. All right. This is one of your final grades for the first marking period. If any of you 3 finish this assignment on time and you have a little bit of time at the end of the class, go back and see if you owe me any assignments, because Friday is the last day of the marking period. And once the marking period ends, you can't go make up an assignment next week and hope I'm going to grade it, because by early next week, all your grades are going to be in and they're going to be final. So if there's anything that you owe me, this would be a good time to go back and do it. I'm not giving you a ton of work over the next couple of days, so you can go back and make sure you finish up any assignments from the first marking period. Okay. All right, so please just let me know if you have any questions. I will be here, but you guys are working on this for the rest of the period. All right. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.